First of all, thank you very much, lady, for this nice introduction. For a moment, I thought I was applying for a job because it was so detailed. I would like to thank Polymerupdate for giving me this opportunity to speak in this conference. As my bio was saying, I represent a consulting company. We normally speak on commodity markets and the emerging trends in supply and demand dynamics. In this conference, I'm going to speak on the automobile trends and the impact of this on polymers. Since morning, we had a lot of interesting presentations. Some were technical, some were informative, and most of them were unanimously saying that the application of engineering plastics is going to grow, and automobile industry is one such area where you have to look up to. And hence, this presentation is going to talk more on what is happening in automobile industry these days and what's going to happen in the automobile industry going forward. These are some important points which will give us the clues in terms of the consumption requirements of automotive industry as far as the engineering plastics in the years ahead. My presentation is going to be on 3 dimensions. When you are speaking on automobile industry, it is very important that you understand what is happening at the global front, because the automobile industry performance is very closely linked with the GDP performances across the world. And hence, it is important that first you understand what's going to happen there. The second part of my presentation, which many other speakers have covered, talks about the application of plastics in automotive industry, and hence I'll quickly rush through because it could sound like a repetition on some of the aspects. The third part of my presentation is the main part, which is the future automobile trends. Here we attempt to forecast what is the automobile production number for this year and what could be the possible production numbers in the years ahead, and trend wise where are they heading to, and hence towards the conclusion part, what could be the possible impact on engineering plastics going forward. When you are analyzing the global economy from an automobile perspective, there are 3 things that are important. First one is the end consumer demand. To be able to judge what is going to be the end consumer demand, one must understand what is happening in the unemployment, on the unemployment front. The indicators here indicate that especially at US front, in the last few months, we are seeing since the crisis period, the first time some improvements happening as far as the unemployment data is concerned. While at Japan and Europe, the unemployment rate continues to be high, the main driver for global economy, which is US, has started performing well in the last few months period, which is a good signal as far as the end consumer demand is concerned. And also the adjacent chart here shows the spending and per capita income growth at US, which is registering very healthy pace in the last few months period. However, on the consumer confidence, which is also one more measure which gives clues in terms of the end consumer demand, has been consolidating in a range. To conclude from these 3 popular indices which most of the analysts track, we come to conclusion that there are good signs of improvements happening as far as the matured economies and consumer demand is concerned. However, things do not look too rosy when you analyze the second important point in the economy analysis from automobiles perspective, which is the bank interest rates and lending to the automobile sector. We all know that the interest rates have come to rock bottom when the crisis was hit during 2008. Since then, they've been languishing around this lowest level in US and around possibly the lowest levels in Europe as well. However, in the last few months period, especially in the Asian context, we have seen that the interest rate have started rising, especially at Australia, New Zealand, India, and China. Most of these economies have recovered very quickly from the recession. Of course, US, India, and China have not been affected much in terms of the recession, but the inflation has become a major worry because of rising commodity prices and excess money supply in the system across the globe. As a result, most of the central bankers in Asia are resorting to interest rate hikes. This is a negative factor as far as the automobile demand is concerned. We also believe that Europe has done it about a couple of weeks back. They will be doing more interest rate hikes in the months ahead. US and Japan have not been doing interest rate hikes, mainly because they are under the belief that the recovery which is happening may get affected if the interest rate revision happens too quickly. However, in the next few quarters, 3 to 4 quarters period, we also believe that US and Japan will join the bandwagon in rising the interest rates. This is one factor which will affect the automobile consumption, and hence because of rise in interest rate and possibly some reversal of money supplies, we all know a lot of packages are being announced by Fed in order to boost the domestic economy at US front. We believe that some of these packages will get reversed in the next 3 to 4 quarters period. Direction wise, they will start affecting the money supply to the automobile industry as well. So while the first point says that the job market scenario improvement could lead to good demand for automobile industry, the second factor is saying that some sort of a consolidation is warranted given the lending rate increases. Overall, at the global economy level, we were expecting 4.2% at the global level. This is a pre-Japan earthquake scenario. Because of Japan earthquake and loss of production at the Japanese front, we believe it is likely to come down by 0.2% across the globe. Japan, which contributes close to 9% of the global GDP, its share is likely to go down to 8.4 in this year. The most of the Japanese earthquake-related effects are going to be felt by China, where the major revision downside has happened as far as their GDP is concerned, followed by US and Europe, which are the major trading partners for Japan. So, at this juncture, just to conclude on the economy side, what we are saying is end consumer demand is going to be relatively higher than compared to the last year. However, bank interest rate revision upside, and because of Japanese crisis, there could be some softening as far as the automobile consumption in this year and year ahead are concerned. Now, come to the second section, polymers, the application of engineering plastics in automotive industry. We understand it all started way back in 1953, and major part of improvements have happened during 1970 when we had a first energy crisis because of a huge rise in the energy prices, which led to a scenario where the world was looking for lighter vehicle which would consume lesser fuel. It all started in 1970s. Since then, a lot of improvements have been made. We understand there are mainly 3 types of engineering plastics being used in automotive industry, which are glass reinforced thermoset composites, which are the most commonly used one, and thermoplastic composite, the second one, and there is another one which is carbon fiber reinforced thermosets, where we see major future is going to be, mainly because of a lot of weight reduction capability that carbon fiber reinforced thermosets bring in. We understand they reduce the weight to the extent of 40 to 65% compared to glass reinforced thermoset, which reduces the weight in the range of 20 to 35%. Apart from weight reduction, we also understand that in terms of shape of the vehicle, in terms of increasing the safety of windshields and fuel tanks, engineering plastics do play a vital role. This is a pie chart which shows that close to 11 to 12% of engineering plastics constitute close to 11 to 12% of automobile weight, excluding the tire weight. The major part of application today is happening on the interior front, which is close to 50%, followed by 32% as far as the body parts are concerned. The photo here indicates the application of engineering plastics. We can clearly see that pretty much in most of the parts the engineering plastics have found their application. Now the road ahead for engineering plastics is to increase the volume in all these parts going forward. Compared to the metal, polymers have certain advantages which we all know. Since morning we've been talking about better fuel economy. We understand that about 100 kgs of plastics typically replace 200 to 300 kgs of conventional material. They also contribute in the reduction of exhaust emission. They can also withstand high temperatures and contribute in noise reduction. On top of all these things, they also contribute in the production cost reduction, which is very important given the dynamics at the automobile front, which I'm going to talk in the next session. The most of the automobile demand is actually coming from the economy